bear trends at least end or pause when the big blow up is revealed?
Boom shakalaka. Today's video, I am joined by market analyst and longtime channel fan favorite Bill Noble. We will be talking about exactly what is going on with this crazy market. Stay tuned. Bill, what is going on, my friend? Welcome back.
Randall, hi. Thanks for having me. The
Dude,
short answer is I got my own channel now.
that is the short answer. You are a channel favorite on this channel. I know everybody loves to have you here, and it's always a fun time to pick your brain, and you always blow my mind. And yeah, so tell me, what's going on with the YouTube channel? And I hear you're a TikTok sensation.
All right. Well, it just was time to go out and do my own thing, right? So, the market update was something, I don't know. The market update comes from my heart. Whether you want to say I'm a financial analyst or an artist, it was the sweet spot, my highest, best good. So after 53 years, I found the thing I was the best at, and it was TV. So you want to give me something to talk about, I'll talk about it. And then I went out on my own.
That's awesome. So right now, everybody can find you on YouTube. I'll put links down in the description. Also, TikTok, Instagram, every other platform you're out there. So today, we're going to talk about what's going on with the markets, because it's a crazy time right now. I mean, the most anticipated recession ever. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, a lot of times when it's fully advertised, it doesn't happen as advertised. So, for example, Goldman is saying no recession, right? That's their out of consensus view. All right. The other out of consensus view is that the Fed has never engineered a soft landing. Okay. There are people borrowing at the Fed's discount window, which once upon a time used to be an actual window you would go to for an emergency loan at the Fed in downtown New York.
Jeez.
Okay. There are people borrowing at that, right, noticeably.
What are they
So
borrowing for?
well, that's a good question, right? This is like the legacy version of Celsius. There's something out there and it ain't no man from Predator. We don't know what's out there. So it's either going to be no recession or it's going to be something a little bit more serious. Okay. What I do know is that the US consumer is probably going to have to walk away from consumption because of inflation and because they maxed out their credit cards buying higher price goods. So, it's probably a recession in consumption. And then that's probably going to be exacerbated by higher commodity prices. So if there is a recession, it may be on the consumer end, which, drives everything. But, you have to kind of watch out, I think, for later in the year, the good old fashioned Rocktober. But I don't think the recession shows up. Everyone's like, okay, let's genuflect and it's going to be a recession. I don't think it's going to work that way.
Yeah, this is something where I've seen charts of like the puts to calls ratio and people paying
Right.
exorbitant amount for puts right now. And it's just like, this is something that's maybe not, or it's like 4 or 5 times bigger than what happened in 2008, like the amount that
Right.
they're paying for these. And it's like, either one, thanks to Twitter, everybody is so well in advance knowing about what's going on in the markets that actually everybody is betting on the correct side this time,
Right.
or something crazy is about to happen.
Okay. The four most dangerous words in the English language are "this time is different." Okay. So when you have everybody bearish, frequently what has to happen is the market has to climb the wall of worry. Now, you may have stock market gyrations in Q1 because, I don't know, we may have to digest, the fact that the Fed doesn't get that, the US government can't pay the interest on the debt if Fed funds are above 4.5%. But, that said, the stock market has to adjust itself, but the stock market is going to go up until people and this put call ratio adjusts itself. And that may mean like summer rally. So if you look at '08, if you look at, the bottom of the bear market in 2003, the bottom of the .com crash, the rally really started in March.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone who thinks the world is going to come to an end when Twitter says it's going to come to an end is wrong. Like when Twitter is like, oh, it's all clear, we're going to go to the beach for Labor Day. That's when you just put your crash helmet on. But
Mm-hmm.
until then, stocks can probably do better than people think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like at least out of all the charts that I've been looking at, everything looks okay. So the sentiment, I would say the sentiment is really, really negative. It's like the exact opposite of back at the height when everything was super frothy. This is like the exact opposite. Like everyone is super pessimistic.
Right.
And in spite of that, prices just going sideways, which is pretty interesting. But I want to come back to the low volatility in a moment. But so like almost all the charts are looking pretty darn, I would say, optimistic, which goes counter to what the sentiment is right now. And then there's
Right.
this whole thing. So me personally, I'm not going to throw my hat in the ring there and say that we've bottomed already, but gosh, almost every chart I've looked at, even like stocks and everything, signals that we're within 6 months of a bottom. It's been wrong during the Great Depression, and it was
Right.
wrong in like the 1970s or something like that. So like it was wrong twice out of 19 times, but a lot of things are looking good. However, there's this one chart that has me nervous. It's because we've just been going sideways, and
Right.
I've only been in cryptocurrency since 2017. But
Right.
like I remember the last time we went sideways, it was right before the floor fell out. And this is like what this chart is looking at, because basically you can see the volatility just decreasing over time, and then eventually it spikes back up. But that spike back up was when price went from $6,500 to like 3,000 and change. So yeah.
Right. I have sideways market PTSD. My first speaking engagement was when Bitcoin was at 6,000 in November. And I'm like, hey, don't give up on crypto. And I got off the stage and went back to my hotel room and Bitcoin was down 10%. Right.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
eventually on its way down to 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. But this market is unusual in the sense that I'm wondering if Bitcoin is a stable coin temporarily. Okay. And altcoins, which have not been going sideways, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
your Solanas, your Avalanches, and all that stuff, people have completely given up on that.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff may be making a bottom. So for the moment, for like, say, January, Bitcoin may be able to leap up, right? But the altcoins are already sort of percolating, right? They weren't going sideways. They were like, straight down on tax loss selling. So
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things you're going to have to do in 2023 is be active, right? In other words, January, make money while the getting's good. Could Bitcoin go up? Yeah, it should. Okay. And if it doesn't by the end of January, okay, well, then that there's probably some kind of liquidation event going on there, right? Like there's an FTX shoe, somebody goes out of business. There's a problem with GBTC and Grayscale, Michael Saylor. The list of problems is long, and sideways action has never turned out well.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, did people get too bearish, and is everybody paying too much attention to Bitcoin and not enough attention to Ethereum? And hey, here's a new radical term. Anybody remember Web3? Who's talking about Web3, right? Like AI is here,
Yeah.
right? And no one's talking about Web3. Meanwhile, Web3 is at zero.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's where I'm wearing my contrarian hat. Are you going to have to deal with flushes and volatility? Yeah. Like I think 2012 may be a good like parallel for Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where it was choppy into March, it based, and then there was like a summer rally. So
Yeah.
I like the 2012 parallel for crypto this year.
Mm. Yeah, and there are some huge like altcoin fractals that I've seen that things are looking pretty good for altcoins for parabolic rallies, especially with DXY crashing from its parabolic rally as well.
Right. Again, DXY is on the list, right? Bloomberg Magazine declared the dollar unstoppable at DXY 111. I fought that on my show hard, and that was not easy, right? Because it stayed up there for like a month.
Mm.
And then Boom. By the way, same Bloomberg magazine has, crypto empire, crypto is dead, right? On its cover with, Sam Bankman-Fried is the emperor of crypto.
Oh my
The
gosh.
same guys who are bullish the dollar at 111 are negative the dollar at Bitcoin 16,000. So,
Yeah.
those guys are doing my job for me.
Yeah. So you did mention there's like other potential things that could happen in cryptocurrency, like Michael Saylor, different things like that. But how about like this has been already quite uh I would say I don't even have a term to describe it because before 2022, I thought that like Mount Gox was something that would never happen again. And I thought
Right.
that like BitConnect was like big, but like that was obvious. But this year was just like, oh my goodness, a house of cards. Everything just collapsed.
Right. Okay. Well, Wall Street for years and years is filled with incidents of men behaving badly, meaning scandals, blow ups. 2002, 2001 was like Enron and WorldCom, cooked books, hedge funds that blow up. That was 1998, Asian currency crisis. Normally, with these blow ups in legacy, eventually the Fed is down there, either with rate cuts or, QE in 2008, because 2008, this was crypto's 2008, right?
Mm.
In other words, you had everybody at Wall Street in OA with the wrong bets with their bets were too big and they were in the wrong assets, which is basically what blew up the crypto ecosystem.
Mm.
Now, in my experience, blowups end or bear trends at least end or pause when the big blowup is revealed, right? Like July was the mini blowup with Celsius, which we thought was the big blowup, and then the real big blowup actually happened. And what
Yeah.
the real big blowup happened, what FTX did, was trigger what I would call an unending FUD storm, right? In other words, the media is hooked on, SBF. I did a TikTok on SBF's laptop, right? Like, so everyone's for certain, everybody's doing politics and talking about certain person's laptops. What's on that laptop?
Mm.
Right. But the market is fixated on that and nobody has returned back to price. In other words, what about price? What about commodities? What's the strategy? No one in crypto is talking about that because, the disaster news is addictive. So if everybody suddenly turns back to price and, the next potential decline in crypto isn't because of all this FUD, maybe it's macro, people might start asking themselves, hey, remember why we liked crypto to begin with?
Mm.
People have forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find it so comical how back when Celsius was falling apart back in whenever June, July, how SBF was on, I think it was on Forbes, and he was like, little do people know, some exchanges are secretly insolvent. And it's like, little did we know he was talking about his own exchange.
Right. And then back in July, everyone was telling you, oh, don't worry, everything is okay. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
was screaming sell in May and go away based on charts. But as soon as you see a problem and then you see everybody say everything is okay, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how Wall Street unfolds. Then you go to the flip side where I'm watching an American college football game, right? And instead of seeing Hollywood stars and let's go to the moon that we were seeing from other crypto entities a year ago, like I don't know if you noticed, but FTX ran a Super Bowl ad,
Mm-hmm.
right? In other words, the new commercial was from Coinbase where it starts off with crypto. People think crypto may go to zero, but I want to let you know that, these are the things that we've done. And it almost sounds like it doesn't sound like a commercial for Coinbase. It sounds like an apology for all the horrible things in crypto.
Mm.
So we've gone from Super Bowl ads to please give me a moment to allow me to speak to you about crypto. Don't get upset. Just let me talk about crypto. You know what I'm saying? It's like the sentiment flip is unbelievable. And I think that's where the opportunities are going to be this year in both stocks and crypto.
Mm. Yeah, I actually noticed, strangely enough, because I talk with a bunch of people, and I don't always tell them that I'm involved in cryptocurrency. So like a lot of people
Right.
that I know on a social level have no idea I'm involved in cryptocurrency. And so like they always they mention it, and I always act surprised, be like, oh yeah. But surprisingly, today, two people that I know mentioned they were thinking about selling crypto, like just liquidating whatever they have left over, because it was worth 20,000 at one point and now it's worth
Right.
less than 5,000. And all of a sudden they're like, I'm thinking I should just sell it. And my mind's going like, okay, everybody's looking to sell now. This is probably approaching the bottom.
Right. In other words, there's a difference between talking to your accountant and doing, tax loss selling and adjustments if you've done bad trades, because everyone's done bad trades.
Mm-hmm.
But the entire ecosystem, right, is like sort of like been poisoned. And people at the retail level probably don't have capital to get back in. Now, we're talking to the retail base. So, obviously we hope that they do have capital and that they are okay. And that's why they listen to me and you to get out of the way of big problems so that when everyone is out, they can come back in. Because you can bet after last year that hedge funds cannot afford to underperform this year, assuming they're still in business. If there's a rally in crypto, they're going to have the resources to come in and follow any rallies, whether that rally is like January and June, right? Because the good news is for YouTube, nobody wants to have a show now about a rally in summer, but I do think it can do better in June.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as capitulation goes, again, in 2008, even when Fed started QE, which no one understood, nobody would touch real estate.
Yeah.
I know somebody who formed his own real estate company in Austin, Texas in 2009, and I thought he was out of his mind. He basically quit his day job to form a real estate company, and now the guy is, I don't know. Hopefully he sold some, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
frequently the term that I use is revulsion. No, it was when you have people who are like, yeah, I was hodling crypto, but I can't do it anymore. Like there's people in the Bahamas that have never heard and don't know anything about crypto, but they know what a disaster FTX is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The only thing everybody knows is something negative. Now, that's unfortunate, but that can feed into a rally because if people don't believe a rally, that's how rallies can unfold, right? The market climbs the wall of worry. That's definitely going to be true, I think, in stocks at some point and probably in crypto, AKA Web3,
Mm-hmm.
which all of a
That's
sudden died because one guy committed fraud.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting because one of the people today who was saying he wants to sell, he was saying, I asked him why. He said, I'm so tired of feeling bad every time it goes down. Like he's at his emotional wit's end. He's just done with it. He'd prefer to sell at a giant loss than have to feel bad the next time it crashes. But that you actually were answering my other question that I had there, because I've been curious, if it starts going up, how long is it going to take to get like Dogecoin, Shiba, like every other funky Inu frothy again? Is it something that's going to, and you kind of answered it already, but like, is it something that's just going to flip on where all of a sudden everybody's going 100x long, or is it going to be where people just don't believe it and they're like, no, 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 this is just a fake out before giant crash coming?
All right. Good question. So everything doesn't come back, right? In these like, I hate to call it a bear market rally, but you can get these winner moves. Bitcoin went from 3,000 to 14,000. Like everybody remembers 6 to 3. And I do have that, scar, but not a lot of
As do
people
we
remember,
all.
as do we all, right? Because that we thought that felt like the end.
Oh,
Like
dude, yeah,
that felt
sixty
like
five hundred dollars. That's how much it costs a miner to mine a Bitcoin. It can't go any lower.
right.
And then
When
just
you
like, boom.
right. And when you saw the Bitcoin miners putting all their hardware out on the curb, literally, because the Bitcoin went way below the cost of production.
Mm-hmm.
So when you saw that, you were like, oh, it's over. And I was working for a crypto research firm at the time. And we got cancellation messages from customers going, we love you guys, but we don't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
We're done. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
just wiped out. So a lot of people remember 6 to 3. And that is painful, right? but not a lot of people remember 3 to 14. Nobody remembers that. Like
No.
I remember after watching like a Wyckoff bottom unfold, I was like, this is going to 10,000. And my boss was like, dude, please don't even say it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, if you were bullish at that point, you were stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
I
Which,
remember that because I did not believe that rally the whole way up from 3 to 14. I was like, this isn't going. Like I had already lost all faith. I was still making videos every day. I had just completely lost faith. I knew, like, I kind of was hoping, fingers crossed, that it would come back, but I was just like, I've seen it go from 20 down to 3. My heart's broken. I don't believe this is going up.
right. And listen, this can happen in crypto and particularly in the altcoins, right? Like, I don't know. I don't want to make a case for any one coin over another, but Solana was talking about issuing a phone at one point, assuming the network provides, and providing airdrops that help you pay for the phone, or at least somehow incentivize you to carry around 2 devices, aka Web3, like digital identity, where you could get into a bar and prove you were 18 without, or over the age of 18 or 21, without having to tell somebody all of your information.
Hmm.
Privacy, in other words,
Mm-hmm.
digital identity, Web3, it's dead, right? People assume NFTs are dead.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about the last cycle was that everyone's like, oh, Ethereum has no use case. Therefore, it's, $80. It's a double digit S coin. No, right? Ethereum has a use case now. So if you look at that bear market, you came out, it was kind of like, all right, well, it's pretty much about Bitcoin and we're waiting for the next thing. You come out of this monster bear market, okay, you have Web3, NFTs, and ETH, which is the currency of culture. So when the ashes settled this time versus last time, you got a lot more useful things in crypto. And only the useful things can participate in this rally. Now, back to Doge. If Musk doesn't embrace Doge, I don't even know what he's waiting for, right? If you can't buy a Tesla with Dogecoin, I don't know if you're going to be able to buy it, or anyone's going to want to buy a Tesla as an aside, right? But there are useful things in crypto. There's a use case now that everyone's ignoring.
So how do people find I mean, this is the $1 million question, clearly, but how do people find the projects that are going to make it in the next rally? Because it always seems like it almost comes out of thin air, you know?
Right. Well, the latest craze is everyone is chasing small projects that try to attach AI to their model, right? Like, oh, we've added AI to our model. So I would encourage people to not get on Binance Smart Chain and chase, such and such coin is doing AI now, or there's going to be AI related coins. That will probably be a trade.
Mm.
How can people figure out what the next, like what the bear market rally or the winter rally looks like? You know, um, I think this stuff's already out there, right? The stuff that everyone gave up on the story is the stuff that no one is long, right?
Mm.
So if you can figure out, just watch the price action and just say, in other words, if you see something that used to have a name and you see it kind of go vertical in price, that's the market telling you, right, that no one is long, right? I know it's qualitative,
Mm.
but like Solana up 11% in one day. Is that a bear market rally, or is there literally nobody long in Solana? I remember in 2009, the rally cry, the analysis framework was to say nobody has it. Everyone is sold out and nobody has it.
Well,
And I remember, go
oh,
ahead.
I mean, that does remind me a lot of Cardano from the previous cycle, because Cardano was like the new hot thing, and then market crashed, everybody lost faith in everything. Cardano goes back down to 2 cents, and then what? It went to $2 and something this time. So clearly, the same thing could happen with Solana or Avalanche or one of these other coins that everybody's given up in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or Cardano. And there was
yeah.
some, or there was some Twitter rumor that the SEC was going to figure out how to backtrack on crypto by giving somebody, some project in crypto, a letter of non-action. So the SEC is going to absolve a project, possibly, okay? And they are in trouble.
What does that
One
what does
way
that
to,
mean? Because I'm not familiar with it.
well, it means the SEC is basically going to say to some crypto project, again, it's a rumor,
Uh-huh.
that you're okay. We're not going to come after you for being a security,
Oh
right?
man,
Somebody,
wouldn't people love if that was XRP after all the stuff they've been through?
right? And again, the stuff that's going to work is the stuff that comes out of nowhere that no one is long, right? Cardano is a great case of everybody getting flushed out. You know, if there was ever XRP news, and the thing about XRP and about, you know, crypto in general as it comes to regulators, this is a massively, I think, underreported idea that people, the most crypto negative people in the government, were getting paid by FTX and SBF, right? He had money in everybody's pocket, right? Because he wanted them to do, to mold crypto his way. So the
Hmm.
more negative on crypto you were, most likely the more money you wound up taking from SBF in some fashion,
Hmm.
campaign contributions or otherwise, right? One guy has already resigned, and if it's one guy was doing it, like what, his boss didn't know about it, his boss's boss, people in
Hmm.
the administrations, politicians who never met a contribution they didn't like.
Wow.
So the everyone's like, oh my God. Like the last video I did for 2022 was, do we have to be afraid of regulation? Which of course is not something anybody's talking about, but I think you need to talk about it because we may have what I call a regulatory reprieve.
Well, I would actually like to pick your brain on that because out of 2008 came like the Sarbanes-Oxley and all of those regulation that
Right.
businesses now have to go through. So, like, if this is crypto's 2008, then do you think we have something coming in the future?
Okay. So two parts to that.
Mm-hmm.
One, the centralized entities are going to go through something like Glass-Steagall, which is way old. Glass-Steagall basically separated, you know, kind of like one part of banking and another part of investment banking, right? It kept them separate. It kept, you know, banks from being trading houses essentially. Okay. And in this case, if you have a centralized crypto exchange cannot have an attached hedge fund. It cannot have an attached venture capital group, right? In other words, you know, blah, 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 blah is a subsidiary of a place where everyone has their money. No, right? We cannot have the casino and the cathedral attached to each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? The place people puts their money is the cathedral, and everything else has to be separate. I think, I mean, if the crypto industry doesn't do that on its own, Uncle Sam is going to make them do it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, banks are going to have to be registered as banks, no more, you know, no more Celsius, right? And you're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
be a fully registered bank that has assets in something like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's another idea, right? That the decentralized crypto universe, like your Uniswap universe, your NFT universe, you know, remember how those guys used to be the bad guys? Like, oh my God, no one's going to pay their taxes because of decentralized trading. You know, oh my God, you know, 1inch has to like abandon American operations. Wow, remember that? Remember when decentralized exchanges were the bad guys? Right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
right.
not the world's biggest problem with crypto.
Oh
It's
my
not the
gosh.
government's biggest problem.
Yeah. That is pretty comical how the centralized exchanges are all the ones that oof.
Right. That blew up the space and the government dropped the ball on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, what a year. I'm happy it's 2023. I'll be honest. I'm happy it's 2023.
Yeah. Well, we all felt betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know, the love of crypto got tested. Like somebody asked me, if you've been in crypto for all these years, you know, why is this happening? Like if crypto is so great, why did this happen? And why are you still there? Right.
Yeah.
Everybody forgot about, you know, when in 2022, SBF became bigger than Satoshi.
Yeah.
That's got to reverse itself, both in price action and, most importantly, in our heads. The worst thing 2022 could do to you, and you already talked about this, is mess up your head. Is make you be like, oh my God, I can't touch this. Or oh my God, I gotta get out. Or oh my God, in stocks, I gotta buy puts, like, oh, this is easy money. Right.
No. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, despite everything, all the advancement in 12 years or whatever it's been, despite all the advancement, it's still the Wild West, It's still one of these things where it's, especially with a lot of new projects, because they're just buzzwords. We talked about this a little bit earlier. It is all buzzwords. Right now it's AI. And it's just, and that's probably just coming off of like ChatGPT's popularity, how like all of a sudden people are like, whoa, a single use case for AI can work really well. Let's just put it into every project. Kind of like how every project this past bull run was deflationary, dog memed, and had like Elon Musk's name in it or something like that.
Right. Or some people walking around conventions in bunny costumes saying that they were in Web3 when, like everybody was in Web3, like everybody is in AI. Now, again, on AI needs to chew on massive amounts of data. So anybody who doesn't have massive amounts of data about whatever they're doing, it is not in AI. Okay. Now, you're right. Wild West, right? What I say about crypto, it always has a unique way to kind of F itself, right? It always takes everything too far, right? And then there's the boom and bust cycles. But you know what? Unless you want governments controlling the whole thing. Like I worked at Goldman in 2009. In 2008, there was a run on Goldman. There was a run on the bank, even though Goldman was fully hedged. But the whole world, nobody cared. It was like, oh my God, we got to get our money out of Wall Street. And then Hank Paulson, head of the Fed, came by and said, okay, everybody's taking 10 billion from the Fed. So everybody can just calm down. We're putting 10 billion on everybody's balance sheets. But you know what? After that, the bank, the Fed, the regulators, the government basically owned the banks at that point, right? They were telling the banks what to do because they stopped the disaster. Whereas in crypto, yes, you have to put up with the boom bust cycle, but you can't be both a rebel against the government or a rebel against the current financial system, is maybe a better way to say it, and want the government to save you when it blows up, right? Boom bust is something that you have to put up with. Okay, that said, the next cycle, okay, or even the bull market move inside winter, okay, is going to be driven by stuff that's useful. Eventually in crypto, for crypto to evolve, and I think it's going to evolve because there's no more printed money, only stuff that's useful makes it, right? So this whole idea of, well, there'll be a Bitcoin halving and we'll all genuflect and then everything 100Xs. You can just throw a coin out there and up it goes, just like, the ICO thing or the thing that happened after COVID. No, it's got to be useful. So, people want the government to save them. Actually, you don't.
Yeah. I do think, at least my feeling, and this could be completely wrong, is that when it takes off this time, it could really, really, really take off because I remember last bear market when we were hypothesizing that like one day when Bitcoin gets past $20,000, if it gets past $20,000,
right,
it's gonna like explode. And then it actually happened, and it did explode. Like it was a couple months, went from 20,000 to 70,000 in a couple months. So like, and everybody who is kicking themselves because they're like, oh, I heard about this thing before. Like, oh, I knew I remember when it was 20,000 and then went down to 3,000, and I knew the whole time. Well, like, I know this cycle, everybody's heard about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And it's like, I mean, true or untrue as it may or may not be, it's like the get rich quick thing. So clearly, if Bitcoin ever gets to 60, 70,000, all the people who were in and lost money, all the people who heard about it, it was 70,000 once it went all the way down to $15,000 and I didn't buy it then, everybody's going to be buying in because sold as can be, like it's going up to $1 million. It's going up to $10 million Bitcoin. you know.
What I tell people about crypto is that you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to wake up one day and say, oh, I need crypto to pay for things, or I need crypto as a part of a diversified portfolio of commodities. Remember, crypto is considered a commodity, a digital commodity, right? You don't want to have to need crypto and not have it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everyone's like, oh, I'm puking out my portfolio. Okay, well, maybe you don't puke out the whole portfolio. Maybe you roll it into something that's useful, like not investment advice, like ETH,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like ETH has a clear use case, right? It's both
Mm-hmm.
technology and money. So where people may be kicking themselves is like, say, there's a problem with the banking system, right? Noticing what gold and silver have been doing despite the Fed tightening cycle, right? Remember crypto as alternative money. So you don't want to wake up and be like, "Ooh, I need to buy something with ETH. I need to pay my rent in ETH for whatever reason, and I don't have it."
Mm-hmm.
Like the I don't have it used to be driven by speculation. I'm wondering if I don't have it can be like, oh, I need this. Oh, I heard of this. Oh, I don't have it. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bingo. There's also some type of law, I don't remember the name of it, where the longer something's been around for, the chances of it staying around for that much longer are that much better. So like when you're looking for brand new projects out there, yes, you can fall upon some that may 10x, 100x, whatever. But like if you want something that's probably going to be around, that's probably not going to liquidate your portfolio, maybe
Right.
looking for some of the older projects that are out there.
Well, I think the new or the temporarily new 10x or 100x. See, if people are running around looking for 100x, they're going to miss the fact that a big crypto could go up 40%. You know what I'm saying? Or they're going to miss the fact that, there could be a move all the way up and then back down again. And it's more of a trading play. And as you noted, this could be a really good time to jump into crypto. Like, here's an example of people jumping into crypto based on a need, right? So, a former president of the United States issued an NFT collection, right? Now, let's forget about whether you like him or you don't like him, but that onboarded more people into crypto than anything else that happened in 2022. Like those people, right, whipped out a credit card, found themselves on MoonPay, and they were in crypto without knowing they were in crypto, right? Like that's how it works. Like, oh, wow, I want this thing, and you need crypto to get it, right? And, again, way back when, I mean, does anybody remember the idea that ETH had no use case? ETH was useless because it had no use case. That was the talk in 2016, 2017, and 2018. Now ETH has a use case and no one's looking at it. Polkadot is maybe the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it has no use case. Oh, now it does have a use case and I don't want to own it.
Mm-hmm.
That can change. Also, as you noted, everyone was like, well, you know, everybody at Bitcoin Miami in 2021 said if I ever saw Bitcoin again at 20K, I'd sell my house and buy Bitcoin. Okay. And then I said to them, well, if you ever saw Bitcoin back at 20K, you probably wouldn't be able to sell your house because of housing values. And I didn't even think interest rates at the time. Notice how nobody is talking like that now. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
is like, oh, it's below the 200-week moving average.
Yeah,
Like,
and
dude.
it's scary. I mean, the best times to buy Bitcoin are the scariest times because you never know if it's going to come back. Fingers
Right.
crossed it'll come back, but you can't predict the future. Who knows?
Right. And again, if the euro can come back, I mean, you realize that, the euro was below parity with the dollar. Like $1, right, was worth more than €1.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now the euro came back. And again, this is another underreported thing. There's problems with fiat everywhere. The dollar's wildly overvalued because, higher interest rates only takes the dollar so far. All the other things that are dollar negative, which we won't go into, people have
Mm-hmm.
forgotten about.
Yeah.
The euro, the yen, fiat has problems. Like, why did you get into crypto? Well, it's like, oh, well, there's a problem with fiat. I remember when the fiat car manufacturer put out a tweet a long time ago that says, why do crypto guys hate us so much? Now there's a problem with fiat and everyone's like, in other words, the mindset is all focused on the FUD. And who knows, it may have to stay, there may have to be another FUD storm before people actually get it, and that turns into the summer rally.
Mm.
And that may be why it goes up in January, because everyone's like, oh, well, I'm not going to buy it now because there could be another flood storm. And dude, you do not want to be not involved, not investment advice. If hedge funds come in and go, oh my God, I'm underinvested in stocks, I'm underinvested in crypto, there's a use case for crypto. I mean, because if Bitcoin went to 18,000 or ETH went to 2,400 and you were negative at 1150, your mind's going to get even more twisted, right? Untwist, unpretzel your mind.
Good advice. Yeah, so we covered a whole bunch of stuff today. Anything else that you think is relevant that we should talk about before we close this one out?
Well, I think you have to look at crypto as a part of the commodities universe, right? Commodities may be in a, multi-year bull cycle, right? There's a lot of Gann work that points to commodities being important. So one of the things that I'm telling people is that crypto connected to something boring, if something boring can be brought to the cryptoverse or the blockchain, remember that word, right? That may be where you look in 2023. So, untwist your mind so you can find the next thing, because you don't have to dig into dirt. It'll actually probably appear to you.
That's good advice. So anybody who's looking for some awesome insights can check out Bill's channel, Crypto Noble, on YouTube. There will be links down in the description to his YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everything. So you can find out the best information, because he's got a load of experience and some amazing insights. Bill, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, you're already a loser.